substantially fails with the following orders. A. Sections 3, subsection 2C, section 9.
Well, that's the ruling of the anti-homosexual of the Constitutional Court on anti-homosexuality. The court okays this law and says it doesn't contravene and affect the constitution and the rights of Ugandans to practice business and profession. We want to go deeper before even you come to Uganda, actually, as maybe if you're a foreigner, before you come to Uganda, or even before if you're Ugandan that and you have been practicing or associating with the LGBTQIA plus community, please, this is the time to leave Uganda. And if you're a foreigner, this is the time to consider or to reconsider coming to Uganda. The Constitutional Court has rejected, yes, the petition challenging the enactment of the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023. So it means the law stands. The law stands. And when it is standing, it means that it is now working. It's now working. I want us to go deeper here and really see. In the statement by the Constitutional Court, read by Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butera, ruled this Wednesday morning that we declined to nullify the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 in its entirety. In a 5-member panel, they said the law is okay. This law, remember the local human rights, including the ANDUM and Class OPO and others, backed by the international community in May, filed a petition before the Constitutional Court challenging the legality of this law. The Ugandan government, for them, they say the law seeks the protection of Uganda's value and culture and children from being recruited into acts of homosexuality. But you remember the law, this law has faced stiff resistance from the international community. And even some Western donors saying that the law is very bad. The law is not in good faith for the people of Uganda and even the foreigners who intend to come to Uganda. The international community imposed the travel bans on Ugandans, and even when you look at the World Bank, cut off funding. Most of the fundings and even agencies packed off their bags from Uganda, citing that this law, it won't be in their favor. Also, the World Bank said no, they won't be funding some ongoing projects until the government repeals this act, and so that they can still resume funding of Ugandans. Funding of Ugandans projects. Yeah. If you look at this law, according to this, according to the court says the Homosexuality Act does not violate the right to practice business and profession, and aims to uphold the society of morals by limiting the use of media, publicity, or broadcast of offensive materials. Yes, you know very well that Ugandan celebrities now, it's no longer a shame to them. They go on and produce nudes and put photos. Even I've seen some comments of different Ugandans on different celebrities saying that someone's music is not It's not in everyone's phone, but their photos are better than, they are more than music. And this is actually also another way of promoting homosexuality, because when our children grow up looking at these photos, this kind of content, this is the one how they are being lured into these acts, into these behaviors of committing homosexuality. And when you look at these petitioners, they say it's wrong also to criminalize me on my dignity, infringing my rights on privacy. So such kind of things. I want to check here, and I want to give you the full details. Still, that if you're Ugandan and you have been practicing these things, high time now to say no, or to leave the country. To leave the country and go to other areas and other areas of the world where you can practice these things without being taken to courts of law. This act provides actually this penalty for a person who commits the offense of aggravated homosexuality, especially if the act is performed against a children or a person who is disabled, mentally ill, or of advanced age, or under influence of medicine, drugs, and alcohol. Now, if you do this act on someone, maybe he's a kid, maybe that person is a child, and maybe you are old, and maybe you have aggravated, you have tried to rape, you really facing a death penalty. If they find that person has been disabled, someone is disabled there, is a lame, and you're just doing these things, if there is proof of doing this, my friend, you actually asking for a death penalty. But why I want to look at the grounds of the court grounds, the grounds where the court stood to say we are nullifying, we are upholding, we are not nullifying the Anti-Homosexuality Act. Yes, I want to look at of course, the act, of course, so many people that have been finding it, recognizing it, so it has been getting serious attention. And I want to look at the grounds here. Yes. Now, why did the court come to the decision of saying no, we are not cancelling this or nullifying this anti-homosexuality law? They said, one, as constitutional court, they based on different legislations and judicial decisions from sister jurisdictions. For instance, other courts of law from different countries, Parliament of Uganda, the executive, that's whereby the president consented to this law, said the president assented and said this law must be must be put in place so that we can protect our children and even the values of Uganda. So the court also made their decision according to this. Also, the absence of consensus at the global level. For instance, when you look at the member states, some countries, some people are not presented, some states are not presented, and they are not represented, and the ideas are not presented there. So determining if Uganda really supports the LGBTI human rights. So there have not been that level representation in different UN states. and the UN states they sit and decide for other states, whereby this comes to be a wrong thing. And the conflict in international human rights law between a universal understanding of human rights and respecting the diversity and freedom of human cultures, with no one culture entirely diminishing the dignities of the other. Yes, if we are Ugandans and we believe in our culture, in our values, then I don't need to believe in the culture of Indians, the culture of the whites of the Western countries. I have my culture. The way we marry, the way we eat, the way we dress, the way we have sex, because a man should marry a woman. Then there's no right. If you talking about human rights, that's my right. Why are you forcing me things which are not? Those are what the president even used to say. That's my right. I have to marry a woman, not to marry a man. So that's my right of saying I'm marry a woman and I am have to marry a woman, but not telling you, yeah, you're supposed even to marry a man. No. The court also, the decision was based also on for instance, the conflict between individual right to self-determination, because me I have to decide on myself, as I've told you. I have to say no, my culture, this is our culture, our Ugandan culture is this, our Ugandan culture is this, not the US culture coming to the Ugandan culture. Also the court, the recent developments in the human rights court decisions in the proceedings and jurisprudence and on the decisions of the US Supreme Court, whereby the court considered the nation's history and traditions. So if the US court considered the African, considered their tradition, then also we Ugandans should also consider our culture, our tradition. Yes, if the court made a decision basing on if this court made a decision basing on their tradition, these traditions, then also we Ugandans, it's right, or the court was right to make a decision basing on the traditions of Ugandans as a country. Of course, we have the uniqueness of Ugandan's constitution, and which have the different social and cultural norms, how we can marry, how we get into love, so many things of that nature, and of course, the act being passed in general by the majority of Ugandans, overwhelming parliament. It was voted by majority of the elected representative of the Ugandan citizens. So it means the members of parliament were really members of parliament supported this, and they find it very important to uphold the representatives, the views of Ugandans through their representatives. So the Constitutional Court based on this to say, no, we are not nullifying the Anti-Homosexuality Act by few petitioners from Uganda and supported by Western donors. Now this is why I'm saying that if you're Ugandan and you have been doing these things, it's high time to reconsider these things, and you will either leave the country or face consequences over this. Thank you for watching CTV, and this has been news this morning. Of course, I'll be providing you with more of this data. Thank you for watching, and please see you in our next video.
11 and 14 of the Anti-Homosexuality Act 2023 are hereby struck down. Each party shall bear its costs. It is so. The full judgment shall be issued to the parties and advocates and the general public.